I want to get back to something, Brendan, that you brought up. And when I was at DIU, the only four-letter word that we had at DIU when you were a senior officer or a congressperson that would come to visit us was requirements. Because it presupposes that you knew exactly what existed out in the world, right? And we would say to them, we're going to put you in front of a guy who has a tank top that's pink with a unicorn on it and cut off jean shorts, and he's worth $500 million, and he has the exact solution that you need. When you have this meeting with this person, do not show up in uniform, because he's going to look at you and say, what did you get that one for not tying? And you're going to be deeply offended, and you're going to walk out of the room. So look at each other as equals and sort of figure out and discuss your priority problem, right? That's a long preamble to how much easier would it be for you if there was no such thing as requirements and the DOD came to you and said, this is my objective, Brandon and team, help me realize this objective?
Oh, it'd be amazing. The requirements process, unless you worked in the requirements process like an acquisition officer or a requirements developer, is a black hole for most people. They don't really understand what it takes to validate a requirement. But if you served in the military, one of the first things you learned was this phrase called commander's intent. And it's, I mean, I think it's not too far to say that the reason we won World War II is because of commander's intent. Because when you dropped little groups of paratroopers in France, they didn't actually know where to go, but they had the commander's intent. I'm supposed to go take this town, or I'm supposed to take this bridge. And they formed up with other paratroopers, and there was no generals or officers anywhere around, and they just got it done. And so commander's intent won the war. Commander's intent could, fix the defense innovation process as well. If the commander gives intent, which I think is some of the stuff that's going on with transformation and contact right now in the Army, is the chief of staff of the Army is giving intent, and he's letting folks figure out how to get there. But there's still this requirements process that's legacy and takes years and years and years to get done. I mean, I read a report recently I shared with our chairman, our shareholders, to try to, I guess we were sort of patting ourselves on the back when you hear the numbers, but it was a OMB report that said that from initial identification of a problem to delivering a capability against that problem takes 11 years. And their goal is 8. So our program of record took 9. So we're doing better than the average, but not as good as their goal. And for folks who are venture backed, that time horizon doesn't really match with a venture capital fund time horizon for investing. And so it's just something to be aware of. And so to your point, if the requirements process could change into something more along the lines of intent, or the way you phrased it, then the velocity of acquisitions should naturally follow.
I was just going to, because obviously we're a British company, so we're used to dealing with the MOD a lot more, and the reason I'm here is to expand our footprint with the DOD, and some of the things I'm hearing is quite concerning in terms of requirements and lobbying. We don't operate like that at all in the UK. We work a lot with the Special Forces units who have a lot more autonomy. So it's like, this is my problem, can you fix it? And we're like, absolutely. And it's very, very agile. We provide input in terms of how we think that problem can be solved. We kind of use in the dev world, you have the kind of, Google uses this a lot, 70-20-10. So 70% of your development time is around improving your current product a little bit. 20% is starting to push the boundaries of what that can do. And then 10% is the blue sky stuff. And we do the same, we have the same sort of relationship with defense, whereas we say, what's your problem? Not interested in implementation, what's your problem? That's the 70%. So our focus is make sure 70% of our time is actually solving the pain point. 20% is, so look, your goal is not to be on top of technology. That's our goal. We can actually do these things as well. We could do this full multimedia. We can have fully multimodal. We can run it on a very small device. So we can have an air-gapped environment if you want. We can do it. We push the boundary with them and telling them what extra they can have. But we also have 10%, which is going totally blue sky. And this is us coming up with the ideas. But we have ex-operators within our team who can then say, no, that's a really, really bad idea because of X, Y, Z. But they know what the technology can do. But we very much drive the innovation within UK MOD. We're pushing the boundaries. We don't lobby. We just go in and talk to 4-star generals and have breakfast with them and get them to tell us their problems. And we work with them in small units and get after problems really quick. And it's kind of interesting. There's a different approach. So yeah, we don't have there is a procurement process, but again, we bypass it a lot. So we had one recently with a unit where they wanted put out a tender, and it was everyone was kind of quoting for the first POC, $300,000 to do that first POC. We did it on our platform within 3 hours prior to the meeting. We actually solved that problem for them. And it is that relationship that we can keep driving and pushing the innovation with them. It's a partnership. It's a very different kind of relationship. It's interesting. Yeah.
I want more of your system in our system over here. So that's a great case study touch point right there. So thank you for that. And I wish we could adopt more agile acquisition as it relates to that, to where you can go and talk into a 3 or 4 star, and then they can go ahead and activate. But unfortunately, oftentimes the people that own the operations don't own the dollars. That's just the way it sort of is in our system. It's been bifurcated.